Are we live? I think so. We should be live. Yeah. Let me confirm on YouTube. YouTube, are we live? If we are live, then let's get started. YouTube, what's up? Load, guy. Guys, am I audible? Seems like there's a bit of which ID do you use? Yeah, so I am using Android Studio. I am using the Android Studio IDE. That is what I'm using. Yeah, so what is wrong with the network? Guys, are we live on YouTube? Can you guys see my messages? Hi guys, can you see my messages? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so tonight we are working on so Flutter enthusiasts, I don't know if you started with us, but we are now running our project on episodes. So tonight we are continuing with episode 6. Yeah, everybody, welcome to the house. Tonight we are continuing it episode 6, and in the episode 6 of our design, this is what we are building, right? We are building the sign up screens. We are building the authentication screens. Yeah, the right word. We are building the authentication screens today. So let's make sure everything is set and then we can move on. So first things first, let me see. We have all this settled. That's great. The next thing we have to confirm is that the other screens. I have a question about OOP. What's the real reason static exists in classes? Okay, so OOP, why do we need, why static? That's the question. Why static in OOP? Let me just give you the online definition so that I won't kill my head, right? Yeah. Yeah, so static, right? According to online documentations, right? Static keyword. It ensures that variables and methods belong to the class itself rather than to a specific object instance. So what it is saying is that when you come into a class like this, right? So when you come into a class like this, and you can see our classes here, guys, we started already, right? So we are talking about static. So it's saying when you come into a class like this and you have this static keyword, right? This static keyword is making sure that this particular object, which is regular, belongs to this class app text, right, and not an instance of the class. So that means that when you have static text regular, and then you have, let's say, text, let's say mini, right? Let's call this mini, and then we do this, and then we return a text. All right, so let's return a text called this. Let's just return a text like this. Yeah, so when we write text, so I access it over app text.regular. Yeah, so we have text app text.regular as static, medium, and bold, but app text.mini comes as a no static class, right? So when we go inside food widgets, and in this class, let's try to access it and see app text.mini. You won't find mini here because mini becomes an instance of the class, all right, and not a method or a variable that belongs to the class itself. So that is basically what it's saying, right? When you don't use the static, the mini becomes an instance of the class. So before you can access it, you have to do it using maybe a getter. All right, you have to create a getter that you can use to get the variables or the values of the mini. But if you don't do it that way, all right, if you don't want to take that long step, then you can just use the static so that the method or the variable becomes a value of the class, so you can use it later. So to avoid creating I just use the static so I can just use the method. Yeah, so that's so that's actually most of the ways. That's like the regular way that we go with it. So someone is asking, why are you not vibe coding? Yeah, so I'm not vibe coding because this is a session and we are learning the basics of mobile application development or software engineering. So there's no need vibe coding in here because we want to understand the basics of what we are doing. If you finally get the basics and the in and out of everything, you can go ahead and vibe code. That one is up to you. But because this is a lesson for beginners and everybody, we are building the code brick by brick so that you will know what the start, the middle, and the end of everything. Yeah. So guys, we just discussed. Thank you very much for that questions. I really appreciate that question because it's a good way to start this class. All right, it's a good way to start this class. So yeah, guys, I'll start with I'll start with the advertisement again. If you are interested, right? If you are interested in learning mobile applications development, then don't forget to check out the YouTube channel because we are live on YouTube right now. And this is the 6th episode, so you should check out the channel and link up before it gets too late. This is a free course, so you are free to join. Just show your laptop and get to business. Yeah, so guys, let's run our app and see what we have. Phew. So let's see where we are and then what we have. So far so good. We've been able to build beautiful screens. We've been able to build our app according to how it looks on the UI. So that's a great start. And it's beautiful because we are building everything from scratch, and then as you can see, so this is what we have, or this is what we did in the episode 6. So if you miss in the episode 5, so if you miss episode 5, please go back and then take a look at it before it becomes long. Yeah, so let's jump into development, right? Yeah, where is our UI? We have our UI. So the screens that we are designing, yeah, Flyboy, what's up? The screens that we are designing are going to be the authentication screens, right? So when if we should run this in prototype mode, we are supposed to have the authentication screen, and when we click on join now, we are supposed to have this screen, which is the sign up. So this is the screen that we are about to build, right? Yeah, so let's jump to our authentication screen. We have this beautiful screen, and then we are about to build it. Guys, my fingers are itching. I can't wait. Yeah, so let's get started. Yeah, the YouTube channel name, please, which laptop is best for someone that wants to study cybersecurity? Cybersecurity. Yeah, wait. So Joy, the YouTube channel name is Code with Secho. We are live on YouTube, so you should check it out right now. And don't forget to drop a subscription and also join the WhatsApp channel for official updates. Yeah, the best PC for cybersecurity. Just get a good gaming machine. Yeah, I actually haven't checked the specs around those cyber security pieces, but a good gaming machine that you can install Linux on, because I know it's more of a Linux stuff. So yeah, going with Apple, I'm not sure you can install Linux on your Apple device. So just find a good Windows, and then you can get started with that. Yeah, so guys, let's jump into our app, and then in the lib folder, right? So let's close all this tab. In the features, we are going to create a new directory which is called auth. So we can call it auth or authentication screen, but that will be long, right? So let's just do auth screen. Yeah, so when you have, you are welcome. So when you have auth screen, and that you're gonna have views, right? We are using MVVM model view model architecture. So under auth screen, we are gonna have views, right? And inside of the views, we will move. We will go ahead and then design our screens. Yeah, so we have the landing page, and then we have what? Yeah, the home screen. So now inside of the views, we will build the main auth screen, right? So let's build auth screen main. This is like the actual screen for the authentication stuff. So let's make it a stateful widget, and then let's call auth screen main. Right, guys, we are in episode 6, so we've done a lot, and you should now understand scaffold. You should now understand scaffold. When I put scaffold on the screen, you should understand most of the widgets, the stateful, the stateless widget. You should understand all of them when you see it on the screen. Yeah, so we have this now. The next thing for us to do is to jump onto the next screen. Yeah, so we have our auth, and then let's put something here. Let's just put something here, body, and then we are gonna call center, and then the center is gonna have a child, and the child is gonna be a text. So let's call this auth screen. Guys, since I'm rushing, you guys didn't tell me to wait. I'm rushing, guys, so let me calm down. Oh, yeah, so now let's move on. Yeah, so after building the auth screen, what we'll be doing now is to make sure that we link the buttons in here, right? What we should do is that we link a button from here, all these buttons, which is login and then join. Now we have to link this button to the authentication screen. So let's confirm that from here. If we should go back, right? So when you click on login, it takes us to the sign in screen, and then when you click on join now, it takes us to the sign up screen. So that is exactly what we are going to do now. Okay, yeah, so when we come here, this is our auth screen, and then on the auth screen we are going to have the sign up and then the login. All right, so inside of the view we should have two screens. We should have the sign up. All right, let's have the sign up view. All right, let's have the sign up view, and then let's have the log in view. Guys, if you want to learn, this is the only channel that will take you step by step when it comes to mobile applications development or software engineering class, right? So don't forget, don't look over it, just drop that subscription and enjoy. So we are going to change this class from auth screen to the sign up view. All right, we are going to change it from auth screen to sign up view. So we are gonna have this. Yeah. So the mistake I made was that I should have started with views, but now when I call the screen, under the screen, then I create a view. It's kind of not cool, but I'll change it whilst we are moving on. When I come in there, I'll just change it a little until I change everything. Yeah, so this class becomes the sign up view. Yeah, so we are going to do our sign up stuff in here. All right, we are going to do our sign up stuff in here, and then we will do our sign in stuff in here. So this screen becomes the sign in view. Hey, sign in is together. Guys, is that it? Let me keep my login before you come and beat me. So let's keep st full, and then let's do the login view. Yeah, so we can have our scaffold. I'm just putting this here to have a little text to show that we are on this particular screen, right? So I'm gonna call my center, and then in here I'll say login view. Yeah, so we have this, and then in here I'll say sign up view. Yeah, so guys, we have our screen. We can rerun the app, and I can assure you that when we rerun the app, nothing is gonna happen until we link the screens to their respective buttons, right? Or until we link the buttons to their respective screens. Yeah, so guys, if you're watching and you are enjoying the episode, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. Over there you have a clear view of what we are doing, and you can be able to follow from there, and also check out the other videos and previous episodes. Yeah, so we are going to this card, and we are going to link these two right now. So let's go to our landing page, and on the landing screen main, we are going to look for the card. So we have the login card widgets. All right, the login card widgets. Even this name has to change, but let me not confuse you guys further, so let's just move on, right? Yeah, so every static every hard-coded string, right, has to go inside the string class. All right, I already told you guys multiple times why it is very important to have those hard-coded strings in a string class. I already spoke about that, so maybe I can just go over it and later in the development. So when we come here, we are going to put this in the string class, right? Let's do that before we move on. If we leave this, we are going to leave another one before we know the whole architecture is going to break down, and then we're not going to have what we've planned from the beginning. So string, and then I'll change the name right now, but let me first do this. Yeah, we paste it, and then when we come there, we are going to do login login and free to description. Yeah, so login and free to description. So we are going to call our app text, and then we'll call login. Yeah, seems I'll pop in the tutorial and video tomorrow, almost 1 year. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. I actually came tonight. I don't know if you didn't show up. I said tonight. This afternoon I came, but maybe you were busy, so you should try and then check it out later. Yeah, it's app strings, guys. So we are going to call our app strings and then log in and have a free description. So now we have our text in there. We have our text in there. We are going to change this one to app string, and then it's going to be join now, right? So we are going to change this to app strings. We're going to change this to app strings, and then we are going to have join now as the app string, right? So guys, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to drop a subscription because it is very important, and don't forget to join the YouTube channel as well. Yeah, so we have join now, and then we will use that, and then we have this one as a guest order. So we will use our app strings and then guest order. Yeah, so when we create this, we should have something like this, and this one should just replace this. Yeah, and then we move to the next one, and then we are gonna have this. It's important we do this because if you don't and you later want to do language translation and all that, it will be very difficult for you. Yeah, already have accounts. Yeah, so we will get this text, and then we can also replace it as this. Then we go to the last one, which is login. So app strings, then we are gonna call login. Yeah, guys, thanks for the likes and the follows and the reshares and everything. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel as well, because that is where you have a clear view of the whole session, and you have access to previous episodes as well. You also have access to the official YouTube channel where we drop resources and discuss all episodes and everything in there. All of them are on the YouTube channel, so you should check it out. Yeah, the name of the channel is Code Researcher, and that is the name. Yeah, Kelvin, this is Flutter, and we are in a learning session. We do this every evening at 9 p.m. and sometimes during the day. Those ones are special ones, so you should check it out if you are interested in learning Flutter or building apps with Flutter. Yeah, guys, so we have our buttons, and then our text worked on. So when we click on this particular login button, which is this, we are supposed to be navigated to the login view, right? So what do? We have to write a function that navigates us to the login view. So this is how you do that. You first call this class, which is Navigator, right? Dot, right? Then you can have push dot push. So what you are doing is that you are pushing a particular widget, right, on top of the widget tree. That is what we are doing. If yeah, the camera placement, unfortunately we can't make a full distance on the machine. That's why you have to, unfortunately, so you'd have to check out the YouTube channel to actually have a better view of what is going on. I've tried, and then if I should push it further, we'll lose the folder sections and all that. So it's just stress with TikTok, unfortunately. Yeah, so everything is looking good on the YouTube, so yeah, you can just check it out and see. Hopefully tomorrow we should be able to stream with the PC on TikTok. Yeah, so if we are using navigator.push, right, and then what you are basically doing is pushing a content to on top of the widget tree. So let me show you how this works. Yeah, so in Flutter, widgets are arranged in a stack, right? Which means all the widgets are arranged like this. They are put on top of each other. They are in a stack. So when you use a navigator.push, what you are basically doing is that you are pushing the particular widget that you name. So assuming you are pushing this widget, what you are doing is that you are now placing it on top of the widget tree. Right, so that becomes the visible widget on the screen. That is what the push is doing. So if we are pushing, or we are pushing to this particular widget, this widget will now be pushed on top of the widget tree like this. Then it becomes the visible widget, and that is what we will be seeing on the screen. So that is how this particular navigator is working. Yeah, so when we come here, we are saying navigator.push, and then that push is taking the context, and this particular context is just saying that where is this thing happening at, and we are saying here it's happening in the login widget. This is where the context is happening at. Okay, so which route are we pushing to? This is where we define the route that we are pushing to, or the widgets that we are pushing to. So in order to do that, we will call our material page route, right? So we will call our material page route, and then in the builder, we can call the builder, and then inside of that, we will return the screen that we are pushing to, which is the login view. So now what we are doing is that when we click on this particular button, the login button, we are pushing the login view on top of the widget tree. So let's rerun our app and then try it out and see. So when we come to the cart and we click on login, now we will be pushed to the login view, as you can see. So when we go back, we click on the login, we will be pushed to the login view. Yeah, and that is exactly what we are doing for the sign up view as well. So we will go to the top, and then we will look for the join now button. Okay, this is where let's do the guest order here, and let's say to do open a guest order page, right? Yeah, so inside of this one, we are navigating to the sign up screen, right? So on click of the button, we will use navigator.push, and then we are pushing to the sign up widget, right? So our routes will call material page routes, and then in here we'll call the builder, right? We'll surround the builder with a parenthesis, and then we'll return the sign up view. Yeah, so when we rerun again, we should be navigated to the sign up view and then login view when we click on them. So join now will take us to the sign up view, and then login will take us to the login view. Yeah, now you can see for yourself that we are moving forward. Yeah, so you've learned something new right now, which is what new thing have you learned? Navigation, moving from screen to screen. That's what you've learned right now. Yeah, the next thing is for us to build our screen. The next thing for us is to build our sign up screen to look like this. Guys, we are building this to look like this. Imagine how long it's gonna take us. Is it gonna be right now, or it's gonna take some time? Let me see if I can just push this to only the design so that you can have access to it. Yeah, So let me see if I can push to only the design. Is the code showing? Yeah, I think something like this. Yeah, so guys, let's jump into the sign up screen. So which programming platform is this? Yeah, this is Flutter. We are using Android Studio with Flutter to build a mobile app. That's what we are doing. So let's first analyze our design before we jump into development as usual. So as you can see, we have this, all these elements shows that it's in a column, but when you look at this, we have this button and then the skip button. We have to make sure we have these two elements. So let's go back, and then when we look at our sign up view, which is this, the backgrounding look quite like what we have here, right? So what we have to do is to go inside of our main class, right? And then in the dim data, we are going to define a background for our class. We can see that across the app, the entire background is this particular one. So this is what we are going to define as the primary background, and then the app bar color as well. So when we come here to our dim data, we can call the app bar, right, the app bar dim, and we'll call our app bar dim, and then in the background color we are going to call app colors dot fruity white, right? Is it that one? Let's confirm, guys. Is it the fruity white or the creamy latte? Let's confirm what it is. Yeah, so it is the BD8, right? And then the BD8 is which one? Which color is that I don't have here? Really? Are you guys adding new colors that I don't have yet? Let's confirm. Yeah, so that's I think 293, right? F293. So which one is that? Guys, seems like okay, clear here but tiny. Oh, really? Are you watching on your phone? Are you watching on your phone? That's very sad. That's very sad. That's very sad, guys. So let's I think we would have to manage, because I think you'd have to manage, guy. So when we go to the join now, this is the color we have, and if we should set our background, so the background for the scaffold, scaffold, we are going to use the fruity white. I think if you are watching from your phone, then you should zoom it out, else maybe you can just watch with your PC or something like that. Yeah, maybe you can watch with your PC or something like that, because it's like the largest view so far. So guys, where is our home screen? Let's see. Let's look for our home screen. yeah, and the shimmer. So we are going to set the scaffold background here to this white, and now when we rerun it, we should have our color back. Whew, guys, if you are watching, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, because the view is clear on the YouTube channel and it's looking crazy. So yeah, okay, if you want to be taught alone, don't forget to just send a DM. All right, just send a DM if you want to be taught alone. And also check out the YouTube channel, which is called Researcher, and you have the chance to learn more from there. Because if we begin to learn together, or if I begin to learn with only you, I'll still refer you to the channel to go look at some of the videos that I already have there and everything. So you should check out the YouTube channel so that you'll be reading whilst we are also learning together. So guys, we have our screens. The next thing is to design this sign up view. The next thing is to design this sign up view. Okay, thank you very much for your understanding. Oh boy, Nito, welcome to the house of developers. Yeah, so let's jump in here. We've already looked at the design. And everything. So now let's tell how we are going to design this, or jump into the development. Guys, this thing is so how is the development going to look like? How best do you think we can tackle this design? We have these two elements, and this one is rising from the bottom, and this one is just at the top. And then we have the skip button here. So that means we are going to have a column. All right, we are going to have a column, and then in that column we'll have this row. Then this row will have these two elements showing, and then there will be another element here, but it will be hidden. Yeah, you get it? That's how we are going to do it. So let's jump into that and then develop that right now. Guys, an advert, right? Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel if you want to learn this mobile applications development. Christopher, you're not late. You're just a few minutes away. I think 37 minutes. You're not late because we are about to begin the entire development. Yeah, so you're not late. Yeah, so guys, on this screen, which is the sign up screen, we are going to have the body, and the body is going to have column. Alright, the body is going to have column as the first child, and then it's going to have children. For beginners, we must start with HTML, guys. Now, you don't when you are starting with HTML, you are jumping all the way into mobile app development. If you want to learn Flutter, all you need is to understand a little bit of that, and then you follow me, because I'm going to take you step by step into understanding every aspect of the Flutter programming. So you don't need to learn HTML, just follow the lesson, and that's all. Yeah, Christopher, you are not late. Yeah, so triple V3, don't stress. If you are a beginner, the course was made for a beginners. So if you see all this design that we've already worked on, they've been built from zero. So even if you are a beginner following this particular lesson or these sessions, you should be able to have something like this. The code is available on the on GitHub, and the link to the code is in the description of the video on the YouTube channel. We are live currently on YouTube, and the name is Code Researcher. So when you go in there, you have access to all the resources. So guys, we have our column, and we are gonna have two children in this particular column, right? The first one will be this, which is a row, and then the second one will be this. Okay, so let's create the first ones. So we are gonna have this row. I already described the row alignment to you, so you guys should have a clear understanding of what it does now. Yeah, so we have a row, and then we are going to use image.assets, and then in specifying the asset, we'll call our app assets, all right, dot app icon. So now when we run this, we should have our app icon. Don't worry about the size, we will resize it right now. And then the next thing is to have this button that says skip, right? So we are gonna have, after the app icon, we are gonna have a text button. You understand why we are using text button, right? Because this is a text that is clickable and it doesn't have any background color and all that. So the best thing to use, the best button to use for it is a text button, and that is what we are using. Guys, if you want to enjoy a better view of this live, then you would have to check out the YouTube channel. The name is Code with Secho, and then you should have a better view of what we are doing. Sorry, it's looking weird on TikTok because currently I need access to, what language are you using? It's very rich. Yeah, this is the Flutter language, right? We are using the Flutter SDK for the app development, and it's a mix of Flutter and then that. Yeah. So we have this. When we click on this, we are supposed to, our to do is supposed to skip this, right? Skip sign up process. Whatever process it is, we are supposed to skip it. And then the child is going to be the app text, right? Dot medium. And then which text are we using? We already described this app text and everything, so you should check out the previous videos, and then you are gonna have access to it. So we are gonna have our text that says skip, right? So we can rerun, and then we will have the skip, but you are not gonna see it. So what we will do right now is to first reduce the size of our image so that you guys can have access to what I'm doing, right? So we'll just check the size of this particular one, where the height is 80. So when we come in here, we'll specify the image height as 80. Then that should be it. Yeah, so we are gonna have these two. Wow, that's nice. I'm Java developer, I have it too. Yeah, then that's great. And if you're a Java developer, then it should be easy for you to even build mobile apps, because I started mobile app development using Java. It used to be raw XML and all that. And then I moved to KMP, Kotlin, then I moved to Flutter and all that. Yeah, and we also use that, so it should be easy for you to transition to this particular section, app development, if you want to try it out. Yeah, so one thing you can, hi bro, I didn't see the link you spoke about in the afternoon. Is it the WhatsApp channel link? If it is the WhatsApp channel link, then please, yeah, okay, all right, that's great. That's great. Wow. Then you've been here for a while. Yeah, then you should please check out the YouTube channel again, right? I think I made a mistake with the link in the afternoon, so when you check again, you should have access to it, right? When you check again, you should have access to the link. Let me go and even correct something about it right now, because I think we have double link in there as I speak. We have a double link in there as I speak, so let me go and then correct it before someone jumps on it. Yeah, so guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, right? That one is very important. Yeah, the link is available on the YouTube channel, and you know, anytime I'm live, my episodes are also live, so you should go there and then check it out. Yeah, so I think, yeah, so yeah, I've updated the video description right now, so you should have access to it. Yeah, thank you very much for the gifts. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so guys, so one thing you can if you check very well, you can see that our item, right, or our element is hidden at the top left corner of the screen, which is very bad, right? So to make it move below the up bar, what widget or the widget that we use is the safe area widget. So the safe area widget just picks your elements and then push it just below the up bar. That is what is that, right? So let's refresh, and then we'll now have our elements in here. Now you can see that according to the UI, the skip button and the icon button are not close to each other. There is a space between them, and the icon is in the center while the skip is at the top right corner, right? So we would have to do that. First thing first, we have to make sure the skip is in line with the top section, right, the top of the icon. So we'll have to set the cross-axis alignment of the row to start. Okay, what is that? To start. So let's do that. Then that should push the skip button to the top, as you can see. And then also we have to do main axis alignment dot space between, which will now put an even space between the two elements. So now you can have the skip here and then the icon here. Yeah, but looking at the size of the skip, the font size is supposed to be 14 and not the 16 or whatever it is. Because if you check the size here, we have 14 and it's using medium, right? So we're just gonna make our font size, right, 14. Yeah, so when we rerun, we should have our skip looking like this. Now in order to make this element align in the center and have the skip aligned to this section, we have to make sure we introduce a new item, all right, which will create a space that is there but not there, so that the row will assume that it has 3 elements, and as far as it assumes that it has 3 elements, it automatically puts an even space between them, which will make this show in the center and this show at the end. So let's do that, and now you see what we have. We'll have it in there. Now what is the next step? So the image is not showing exactly in the center because it is big. I've joined the group, so I'm watching the live on YouTube. Thanks very much. You are welcome, Mr. Khaled. Hopefully you should be able to achieve your goal by being able to build mobile apps after all these sessions, right? Yeah. So we have this. Let's understand why this particular element is not in the center. Even if we want to wrap it in a center container right now, let's see where it will be. It will still be there. So let's wrap it around the container, and let's give this container a color so that we can see what is happening around the edges of this particular element, right? So let's create container and then the color, and let's just use any color at all. So we have this. Then if we have this, why is it not in there? So let's remove the shrink and replace it with an actual size box with a width. How to wrap keys? I'm new to this, so Caleb, don't worry, just be part of the whole development process, and I promise you're gonna understand everything. Yeah. How wrap key? Faham, Zafar, I don't understand what you're saying actually. Are you asking if we should use wrap or something? Yeah, so guys, we now have this in here. But what you can discover is that because we were using the size box, right, with nothing, and we were using the button in here, that is why our element wasn't aligned so much in the center. So we can just use this and make sure this is not clickable and all this is hidden and blah blah blah. So let's hide the text and see if it's going to show like that again. But we still have the button in there, so we can make this unclickable, right? We can make it unclickable so that we won't be able to use it. So on press, we'll just make it now. Yeah, on press it won't do anything, but we just have to make sure we take off everything that is making it even show that particular style or whatever. We have to take all that off, and actually it's just something else. So we can either do style, right, and then we'll do text button the style from, and then I think it's a splash, right? So we check the splash factory, and then we use no splash factory, but still it's showing. So we have to find something and use. Yeah, so guys, that is that. I think we have our element in the center. So yeah, so apart from using this same button at the end here, which is not clickable, it is actually not cool to use the button. You can either use a container or something else that will make it unclickable, as it is here, right? So if I decide to use something like an inkwell, and then I use on tap, do nothing, and then I do this, let me see. Yeah, it's gonna pull back. Yeah, so that is that. You can just find your own way around it. That's why software engineering, there are multiple ways around it. So guys, again, if you want to learn mobile app development, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. We are live on YouTube and have access to this session. So now this is our design, and this is what we have. What do we have to do next? We have to make sure our element is a little bit pushed away from the app bar. All right, although we have it just below the app bar, but it seems too close to this, right? So we have to pull it down at least a bit, but we don't have to stress ourselves over that. What we can do is to do the main axis of the column to be at the end. Right, we will align the main axis of the column, so the elements are now at the end, which means that we have the chance to build this container. All right, we'll build this container all the way to the top, and before we reach here, this element will already have a good space to be. So that is what we are doing, guys. We've done a lot of talk. Let's go for a water break. Yeah, so we're back from the water break, and before we jump into the development, a little bit of advertisements, right? Let me advertise the channel. So this episode, as you can see, it's an episode that it's not just a single episode, right? It's in series, and this is the sixth episode of the software or Flutter developer series, right? And the reason why we are doing this is because I'm a trainer. I've been teaching mobile application development in groups or to individuals in small settings, small company employees and all that. And I've ended the session this June. So this is just a free token that I'm giving online for free, an online session to teach mobile applications development. So if you are interested and you want to learn, this is a free session for you. All you have to do is to join the YouTube channel so that you have access to all the videos, and also join the WhatsApp channel where I drop resources and information concerning the live. Yeah, so that is what is going on here. So don't forget to check out the channel. The name is Code with Secho, and have access to all that we are doing. So guys, let's jump into our development. So the next thing, the first thing we have to do is to get this particular container, right? We have to build this container that will be looking like this. Let's do this. So we already have our row. Which is our button. The next thing we have to do is to build our container. Yeah, this is going to be a big container with a little bit of elevation at the top. That is what we are building. Right, so we are going to build this container, and then the height, right now, let's just give it any height, right? Let's just give it any height. So let's say the height is 500, and then for the width is taking all the remaining spaces on the screen, right? So that's going to be double dot infinity. And when we use double dot infinity, we are basically saying that, hey, cover the available white space on both ends of the screen. So that is what we are doing here. And then we will do decoration, then box decoration, then we will give it a color which is white. So when we rerun this, we'll now have our container looking like this. Yeah, so we have this and we have this. We just have to beautify this to look like this. That is what we are doing. Guys, thanks for the follow, thanks for the likes and all the reshares. I really appreciate that. So what we have to do is to do border radius. All right, because we are looking at making the edges of the container rounded, and in development or in UI development, that's called the border radius. The round edges are called border radius, right? So when we call border radius, we are going to call a circular border radius, right? And then it's been and going interest in this. What is the emulator you are using? Yeah, so I'm using, guys, thanks very much for the feedbacks. I really appreciate them. It makes me smile, and I want to build more. Yeah, so I'm using this one, Pixel 10 Pro emulator, and it comes with the Android Studio. If you are new to Android Studio, episode 1 of this series in the YouTube channel, which is Code with Secho, we talk about all the IDEs, and then I show a step-by-step process on how to download and set up the IDE to have it just as I do. So you should check out the YouTube channel. The name is Code with Secho, and if you are interested, you have access to everything. Guys, thanks very much for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so when you look at the container, this side is not rounded. The bottom left and bottom right is not rounded, but the top left and top right is rounded. So is this Android Studio? Yeah, Kelvin, this is Android Studio. Yeah, so when you come in here, because we want to round only the two edges, top left and top right, we can't use circular, because if we use circular and we apply the radius, right, it is going to affect every section of it. So you realize that this bottom here will be affected, and then the top here will be affected. The extension, there's no extension for the emulator, so the emulator feature automatically comes with the Android Studio, so you don't need an extension to use it. I didn't know it works with Flutter. I thought it's just Kotlin and Java. Yeah, so it works with Flutter too. You only have to do the Flutter setup, which is in the episode 1 of the session. I can't take you through everything right now, unfortunately, because we are already, time is against us. So you can just check out the episode 1. We are live on the YouTube channel, so you can just check there, and then you have access to the episode 1, and then you go through it. It's easy to install. Yeah, so because we don't want to set the radius for both edges or all the edges of the container, we will use border radius dot only, and then on the only you specify the top left corner, right? So now we can call this as circular, and then we supply the 16.0. I like the way you respond in your real one, bro. Thank you, bro. You're welcome. Yeah, real real recognized real. Yeah. Yeah, so guys, we have this, and if you are thinking about why we have this down here, this one comes with the emulator. This is not actually our fault, so I don't know if you want us to fight over it, but this is not our fault, the one down here. Yeah, we can try to force it. I don't know how we are going to force it to make it work, but unfortunately it's not our fault. It's just a space that's been provided for this particular button. When you see it, we are using Android, so this down here, it's a space provided for it, so it's default and we can't change it, unfortunately. Yeah, so what can we do next is to make sure we check the edges with the UI. So if you should check the rounded edges, let's check the rounded edges and see how rounded they are. The corner radius, it says they are mixed, and even if they are mixed, give us one thing now, give us something now. Yeah, so it's giving 34. That's huge. 34 is huge, actually. So let's see. Yeah, so this is what it's given, and then the next thing for us to do is to give that particular shadow, right? This one. Guys, we are gonna give that. So let's use the border color. We can either use the shadow and then push it upwards, or we use the border color, but the best thing is to use the shadow. So let's use the shadow, right? And then I think we are gonna have box shadow. We are gonna have box shadow, and then we have to specify the colors of the box shadow. I repeat, if you want to know the values of all the properties of a particular widget, you hover on the widget and then you have the properties. So box shadow has constant color, offset, radius, blur radius, spread radius, and all that. Yeah, so we are going to specify the color first. Let's specify any color. I don't know why I keep calling green, so let's run the green. You can see any radius, so let's use a spread radius, and then let's do 16.0. Yeah, I'm just making everything so that you see how it is. Yeah, so now you have the spread radius, and that is what you have, right? Okay, now we are going to use this called offset to push the spread from the bottom of the container, right, to the top, so that we'll be seeing something like this. As you can see, it's not in the bottom, it's only here. So let's do that. Right, so we are gonna have offset, and then when we call the offset is just us directing the horizontal and then the vertical alignment of this particular spread, right? So the dx is the dx vertical or horizontal? Let's see. So 8.0, and then dy, I'm sorry, yeah, so dx is the horizontal push, right? Okay, so we can have it at 0, and then let's try the dy and see. So the dy is pushing into bottom when we use positive, and if we should use negative numbers, it's supposed to push the top, as you can see. Yeah, And now that it's pushing to the top, the next thing we can do is to now do the blur, right? The blur radius. Now how spread up or how blurry we want this particular color to be is what we are doing. So now you can see it's looking very green. Now let's go back to the actual colors and use what we have there. So when you go in here, we'll check the drop shadow, and then the drop shadow, you can see the blur is 4, the spread is 0, and then the Y is -2, right? Always check, inspect your design when you're about to build. And this is the color that it's used, so we can just move ahead and use that color. So for the color, it's used this black color, right? So we specify the hex color, yeah, and then when you rerun, you are gonna have that. And then at the top, instead of -16, it's specified -2 from the UI developer. And then for the blur radius, let's see what he took. Let's confirm. The blur radius is 4 and the spread is 0. Okay, so the spread radius is 0, like that, and the blur radius is 4. Yeah, so now we have something like this. So guys, we have something like this, just as it was being built on the UI. But what you can see is that the colors on the UI are more lighter compared to what we have here. Look at how deep our black is. It's not supposed to be that deep. I don't know why it's so deep. Yeah, because it's too deep. For me, it's too deep, which is not supposed to be so. So guys, let's confirm our black is looking better than how it is now. So we have different variations of the black. You can specify your black when you do colors of black. We have different variations of black. It's just the opacity. So when you type black, you have black 12, which is a very light opacity, black 26, which is thicker, 38 all the way to black 87. So let's use black 26 for our shadow, and then the shadow should look like this, and this is looking good. So guys, how close are we to ending this? Are we very close or not? Yeah, if you're watching, don't forget to check the YouTube channel. Guys, thanks very much for the follow. Check out the YouTube channel for more beautiful episodes, more exciting and straight to the point episodes like what we are doing right now. So guys, our design is almost there. One thing we have to do is to put that small spacing between the two elements, right? So if you check, it's a 16.0 spacing, so we have to put it in there. Designing according to UI is very, very beautiful. So you call out your const and then size box, and you specify height. We are using height to separate the elements because they are in column. That's the alignment, right? They are in column. If they were to be in a row, then we'll be using width in here and not height. Understood? Secret? Bienvenue. So now we have our elements like this, just as it's looking here. Yeah, so assuming we want to have our box, use cloud, 10 minutes finish project. Maybe you should ask what is going on before you bring a cloud into the picture. Yeah. So the first thing you do when you enter a live is be like, hey, hello guys, what's going on? What are you building? What are you doing? Or you can be like, why are you not using an AI to build this? And it will tell you why. That way, when you drop a comment suggesting why we should use AI, nobody will look at you and be like, bro, for real? Because right now, I'm sure everybody will look at your comment and be like, for real? Yeah, but all good. Yeah, so guys, we are moving on. when we come in here, we now have to build our sign up stuff, right? And then after that we move on. But you can realize one thing, that when I use 800 height, there was an overflow. So this down here, it's a bottom overflow, and we have to sort it out. How do we sort it out? We've done it multiple times. All you have to do is to wrap your elements inside of a single child scroll view. Yeah, so we are going to take this, and then we'll do single child scroll view. Then when we run this, our elements are now scrollable. Now when we reduce the size of that container here, the elements will now jump to the top of the screen. They will no more be in the bottom. Can you see why? Because of the new single child scroll view. So how do we solve this single child scroll view issue? You would have to make sure that the single child scroll view, it's aligned inside of another container, right, of another widget, which is column, and then the single child scroll view will be in an expanded column. So expanded is now forcing the single child scroll view to take all the available spaces, all right, the available white spaces, and then that should work. So let's check this out and see. This should be single child and then column and then blah blah blah. Guys, I'll see that bill. Let's see, and then let's put it at the end. It's not working. So guys, we are about to get busy. Yeah, so now a new alignment issue. We have single child scroll view, we have column. So this column has to be in expanded, right? So let's put it in another column, and then inside of this column, let's use expanded, and let's see. Yeah, it's all our way out of the screen. So let's drop this out, and when we drop that out, we're gonna drop this out as well. Single child scroll view always brings an issue. Single child scroll views always come up with an issue, whilst it's also the kind of most easiest widget to just use and then feel free. Yeah, so it's simple. Let me calm down and then we figure it out. All right, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. All right, the name is Code with Seto. When you check out YouTube channel, you have access to the whole design, the whole screen, and every information and resources that you need to actually build something like this. Yeah, so where do we go next? Yeah, we are working on the alignment issue. Now our elements are pushed to the top because we are using the single child scroll view, and this single child scroll view is preventing the element from going down because its height is clamped, which means that it's using intrinsic height, right? Intrinsic height is just another way of saying that the maximum height of the single child scroll view is limited to the maximum height of its child. So if the height of the children is very long, that becomes the height of the single child scroll view, and if the height of the children is very short, that becomes the height of the single child scroll view. So that's how it is working. Now we have to find a way to make sure that although the elements are small, the height of the single child scroll view is still long, which means it's still taking out the rest of the screen, right? So that is what we have to find out right now before we can move on with our development. So we have our item here, and then we have this. Now we have this column. Our column is okay, right? But we have to make sure that this column guys, let's sit down and think this through. Let's sit down and think this through. So I have this. If we have single child scroll view, right? If we have it in a column, and then we wrap the single child scroll view in expanded, that means the height of the single child scroll view automatically is going to take out the available white screen. Is that what we are going to have? So let's try that and see. Okay, let's try that and see, guys. So let's let me just cut this element. All right, and then let's do text. Okay, so now we have text, and when we rerun, we have that as data. Now the first thing we do is to wrap our single child scroll view in a column widget. So let's rerun. It looks good. Now we want this particular single child scroll view to take the remaining screens, right? The remaining white spaces on the screen. So when we rerun, we have this. So automatically the height of this single child scroll view should be the total height of what we have on the screen, right? So if we should wrap this text in column and use main alignment to end. All right, let's see. Oh. Guys, it's still stuck at the top, right? It's stuck at the top, which is kind of still a layout issue. So if we have this, if we should align main axis alignment to end for the parent column, let's see where single child scroll view will be. And then we will remove this. Now single child scroll view is having elements at the bottom. So now that is what we have. So let's replace this with what we copied, and let's rerun our app and see. Now we have our elements like this. Now if we should make this 800, the scrollability is still going. So let's wrap single child scroll view in expanded, and this, now it becomes scrollable. Yeah, guys, that is the work. You see, when you do things like this, it's like, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. Someone will come in the comment section and be like, give this thing to AI and get the work done. But you know very well that this can be done by just looking at the code and making sure that you do the right thing. And this is it. This is the beauty of building by yourself. I just love this. I feel like, yeah, now I have superpowers. I can sit down, look at my code, decode it, and tell where the issue is coming from. Right, so with an issue like this, with what that we've just solved, right, the layout and then the alignment issue with the whole single child scroll view thing, if you should give this thing to AI will solve it for you. But what happens to you, the human being? Right, the goal is to build and understand what you are building. I know people will come in here and argue that, hey, it doesn't make sense. But the goal is to build. As a developer, your superpower is to build, right? Is to write code and see it work. That's your superpower as a developer. So yeah, guys, we've been able to solve the alignment issue, and that's a great thanks to patience and proper debugging skill. Yeah, so now we can just jump into building our thing. Oh, why is it here? Wait, guys, this thing is doing magic. This thing is doing magic. It was at the bottom, now it moved to the top. What the heck? This thing is doing magic, oh guys. Yeah, you were here. So how do you move all the way to the top again? Hello Sichu, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing great. You've been gone for so long. Where have you been? Where have you been? Yeah, so guys, our element just moved all the way to the top again, which is very funny. Because we just solved this. Where were we before it worked? Did it really work? Guys, did it really work? Yeah, so let's jump in. Oh, okay. You were building UI. That's great. So guys, we solved the problem. I thought we solved it. Yeah, because we did. But it's jumped back because yeah, we were using 800 and 800 was working correctly. So I jumped with a happy heart that our solution worked. But it seems that single child scroll view is still holding our neck. So what we are going to do is to wrap this. We can't wrap extended and extended. That is one thing you should understand. So now we are going to use container to debug the problem of this. So let's wrap this in a container and let's see. So guys, let's take a look at it. This is like the entire space, right, that a single child scroll view is taken, which means that if we are using this column inside of the single child scroll view and we align the elements to the bottom, are you building UI only or the full app? So we are building this app and we will make sure it's the full app, right? We make sure it's the full app, but the backend implementation is not what we are going to do because we are not going to learn backend engineering. We are just doing mobile applications development. When we are done with everything, I'll show you how to connect with APIs and all that, but I'm not going to teach backend engineering. Yeah. So guys, if you look at the container, right, the expanded is saying that, hey, all the elements here in the container are being aligned in here. So meaning when we use single child scroll view, right, inside of this, we should be able to push it to the bottom, right? So I want to check something and let's see. Let's put this in a column and let's put the main axis alignment to end and let's see. Guys, see you. Mommy, see you. Mommy, see you. Guys, can you see for yourself? So now I can boldly say that we've solved the problem. Guys, I can boldly say that we've solved the problem. If I should remove this to 200, I can tell you that we've solved the problem. And if I should increase it to 1200, it's not gonna scroll. Oh my god. It is not gonna scroll, which means that there is still a little bit of problem that we would have to solve. Oh my days. Yeah, you can ask questions, guys. Feel free to ask a question. Feel free to ask a question. Feel free to ask a question. I think I am going to understand something small about what is happening here. So now what I'm thinking is that let's use the expanded, right, inside of the single child scroll view, not outside of it, and see how that is gonna work. So now we are going to use the expanded inside of the single child scroll view and not outside of it, and let's see how it's gonna turn out. So let's say we have this, all right, as a single child scroll view, which we are saying here, the phone thing, what is it called? Yeah, this is called an emulator. The phone thing here is called an emulator. So it's just something that shows like a mobile device. It emulates the values or the behaviors of a mobile device so that you can run and test your app on it and have it look like a real-time mobile application. Yeah, don't forget to check out the channel, guys. Check out the YouTube channel, guys. The YouTube channel is very important. Oh my god. Yeah, guys, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. That's where we have all the exclusive and funny parts of all the sessions that we've been doing so far. We go on live every time, and it's all about mobile development, right? So we are gonna have column, and then the children of this column is gonna be expanded. It's gonna be expanded, and then the child of this expanded is gonna be a container. So let's give it a color, and let's say green. Yeah, so let's give it a width and do double dot infinity. Single child scroll view, guys. Single child scroll view. You can only use it outside of the single child scroll view. You can only use it outside of it. Let me check something right now. Maybe there's something we can just do in here and then stop the struggle or the stress that we are going through. I want to learn Flutter from zero. Yeah, it's exactly what we are doing here. When you check the YouTube channel Code with Secho and you check our Flutter crash course, right? Inside of the Flutter crash course, we have episodes, and starting from 0, which is the episode 1, that is where we talk about the installation, how to set up everything, the Flutter path. If you want to be a Flutter developer, the path you follow to developing a Flutter app and every that. Then we have episode 2, which we did the discussions of how to run your first app. Episode 3, when we started building. Episode 4, episode 5, and this is episode 6. Yeah, so they are all like this. We discuss, we build, we find out issues. When there's errors, we find out the solution, and then we put it on there. Then that's how we build. So far, we haven't used AI because we are learning, right? We are teaching you the basics. I want you to understand basics. When we solve an issue, I want you to understand how we are able to debug and solve that issue. That's why we haven't been using AI in the development. Yeah, if we are done with everything and you are good and you want to use AI, it's up to you. But when we are learning the basics, we are not doing AI. Yeah, thank you very much. So guys, we can see that the issue here is the expanded. So if expanded is not working and we want to use something like a flex, I don't know if we have flex and expanded. So if we have flex and we have 1, let's see, will that even work? It's not gonna work. Sure. Yeah, so you check out the YouTube channel, and then on the YouTube channel we also have a link to the WhatsApp channel, the official WhatsApp channel. Down there I post messages, I post notifications concerning the developments and everything, so you can check it out as well. And don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, so guys, we are still on the layout issue. Do you know what? I don't know why I'm stressing this much, right? Because there is a whole simple and easy way to solve this, which is stack. We can just use stack to align our elements to the bottom of the screen, and then we build. That's what we can do, right? That's the easiest way we can go with this. but I still don't know why I'm stressing myself over the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, because I just want to make it work so that we can just use it and then enjoy. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I just want to make it work so that we will use it and enjoy. Because if I go here, I don't want to jump into stack, so let me not even start with it. We are going to make sure that this single child scroll view works. We are going to make sure it works. So when you check all the behaviors, there's actually nothing that we have to change. The only thing we have to do is to make sure that when we call it, it's aligned to the center. So when we have a column and we have the main axis alignment sending elements to the end, these elements are supposed to be at the end. And that is how it's supposed to work. But when we start to increase the size of the elements like this, then the scroll fails to work. You see, that is what is happening. When we have our elements like that, it works, but when the height of the container increases, then the scroll fails to work, which means we have to make sure that no matter what happens, this element here is scrollable. So we use expanded and then it works. But when we drop the expanded element to 200, then the scroll now jumps to the top. Do you see how this thing is playing with us? Do you see how this thing is playing with us? Yeah, that is how crazy this thing is playing with us right now. So we have to make sure that no matter what happens, our elements are falling down to the bottom, and then we can scroll it when the height grows. And that is all. That is all we are trying to achieve here. Guys, that is all we are trying to achieve here. Phew. That is all we are trying to achieve here. Nothing less, nothing much. Nothing less, nothing much. So now with this column, if we should wrap this column in a container and give it a color as green, then we should see how long this column is. Right, we should see how long this column is, which means the scroll is kind of limiting the height, right? So if we set this container, we set the height to double dot infinity, it runs away because the scroll is also doing that same thing, right? So now it becomes an issue. Yeah, if we have the container children as a column, and we have column wrapped in a column, and we have this column which is which will now be an expanded column, the element ran away because scroll axis or scroll element is saying no. Guys, at this point I think we just have to use the method that I was already talking about, which is the border alignment. I say border alignment, which is this one, right? We just have to use the stack to align our elements to the bottom so that when it's time for scrolling we can scroll. But right now let's move into the development. Alright, let's move into the development process. When we are done with that, then we can now think of that. If you are not able to finish the scroll, I'll just solve it after the live, or maybe I'll continue with it until I'm done. Yeah, so let's continue. Yeah, so now we have our container and we are building this. So let's build the text, and then we'll come build this field, then the buttons, then we are done. So let's go to child. Right, the child of the container will be column as usual, and then we are going to have children of this column. Right, so the first child is going to be this text. Right, the first child is going to be this text, and this text is the bold text, and the size is 28. Right, so we are going to have app text dot bold, and then the text for bold is going to be sign up. Yeah, so when we rerun, we should have something like this. Now we have to put this inside of app strings, right? So app strings dot sign up, and we create this new getter, and when we come here, we just drop our sign up. Yeah, so now when you look at the design, we have our sign up, which is aligned to the start. Okay, so when you take column, you check the cross axis of the column to start, so that should align our element to the start. Now when you check the design, we have a padding top and bottom, and we have a left and right padding, which looks to be more than that of the top and bottom. Which uni am I? I'm done with uni, and I'm a full-time worker at so I'm done with uni, and I'm a full-time worker at a software engineering here in Ghana, a software engineering company here in Ghana, and I'm also a trainer in there. So yeah, I build, I train, and I do almost everything. It's nice to have you in here. If you are interested in learning the mobile development and everything, you can check out the YouTube channel, which is Code with Secho. So we are going to have a padding for our container, a padding left and right. Yeah, so we'll have our padding, and then we'll have a constant edge insert. We are going to use a symmetric edge insert. So horizontal is 24, as you can see, according to the design, and then vertical is 16.0. So let's run this, and we are going to have this according to the design. Even the 24 looks smaller compared to what we have here. So it looks like this is 32. All right, that's cool. Don't just go ahead and send a DM. Just after here, I'll chat you up. Yeah, so we are going to create our color. The color, as you can see, the text color is not black, it's this brown color that we are going to use right now. So when we come here, we can specify the color, and then we are going to call the app colors. Right, and then the app colors will be espresso brown. Yeah, so we are gonna have our espresso brown color, and we should continue with this text. So this is our small text, regular text, which is 14. Yeah, so we are gonna call this app text, and then we call regular. And then inside there, we are going to call text, and then this becomes our text. So let's have this. Yeah, so as you can see, we have that. The next thing we are supposed to do is to reduce the font size. Okay, we reduce the font size. Yeah, I said, bro, how do I get the text? how do I get to text? Yeah, just send me a DM right now on this one. Just send me a DM on TikTok. When I'm done from here, I'll just holla you. Yeah, so let's call our double, and then let's call font size. So we have our double font size, then we specify that here. We either call our font size or we use the default value. Yeah, so when you come here, we are gonna have our font size, which is 14. Then we should have something like this. Yeah, but still when you look at the design, it seems the space between these two is very small. It's bigger compared to what we even gave it. So the space between these two is big compared to what we even gave it. UI dev, that's too much of a space. That's too much of a space, because the items keep shrinking and it's like the space you've given it is so big. So we are gonna have 48, and after 48, what next? 56. So now I think this should work for you. UI dev, or you said it's still too big? So we're gonna have our 64, and then we should have our 72, then we should have our 80. Yeah, so according to our UI dev, this is what works for him. So we'll just proceed with this. Yeah, so guys, we are proceeding with that, and then this text is gonna be changed to sign up explained, right? So we are gonna call up strings dot sign up explained. So down here we are just gonna have this as sign up explained, and then we will use it. Yeah, so now we have our sign up text as well. So now the next thing that we do according to the UI is to build these fields, the username and then the email and password fields, right? So we are going to build an input field. That is also something new. So this app, we are learning in this particular episode, we've learned two most significant things, which is one, the text, and then two, the input field, right? We learn about Navigator, and then we are going to learn TextField. So to input the text, we have a function called, or we have a method or a widget called the TextField widget, right? So the first thing we have to do is to make sure we put these two elements, this text and this text, we must have it in one widget, right? So let's go in here and create a column widget so that we'll have them in there. So we have these two texts in there. Now the next thing we create is to focus on this particular text field widgets, right? So that is what we are building, the text field widgets. So when you come in here, we have label, and then after the label we have the text field widget. So let's inspect the label. We have medium, and the medium size is 14. This one is regular, and the size is 24. Okay, so the regular text also have the same color as that one. So let's specify the color, and then let's call up colors dot espresso. Yeah, so when we run, we should now have this, and then our cross-axis alignment should be at the start. Yeah, so now we have this, and then we can move on to building the next element, which is the text field, and then the label. Yeah, so we are gonna have our app text, We are gonna have our app text dot medium, and then when we check medium, the font size should be 14. The font size. Okay, the text should first be the label, which is username. So we are going to take username, and then the font color, the font size would be 14. And then the color is going to be mint, right? So app colors dot fresh mint. So we'll have something like this as the username. So after the username, we have to kind of separate them. Alright, so we have to make sure we put a space between these two, which is 20. So that is 24 px between these two. So yeah, before the username, we are gonna have to put a spacing here. So the size box spacing would have a height of 24.0. And that is what we need here. So now after the height, the next thing is to build the text field. So we'll call the text field label, right? So we'll call TextFormField. I'll explain later why we are using TextFormField. When you rerun, we have this, and then inside of this we can enter a text, right, in our TextFormField. Now the next thing is for us to decorate the TextFormField to look like this. That is the next thing for us. Guys, if you are enjoying the live so far, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and drop a subscription and also drop a follow. Yeah, so we have this field, which is the input text field, right? So we have our text field, and then we'll have to design this text field to look exactly like what we have here, with even an elevation. So let's first go through the values and see if we have a value for elevation on text field. So we can do this. Why did you throw me there? So we have enabled decoration and all that. If you do elevation, there's no elevation, but we can have decoration and then input decoration. So now let's see if we have elevation even in this one. We don't have an elevation, which means we would have to build this particular shadow, right? We'll have to design this shadow ourselves, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so let's first look around the values that we have here, and then let's see the one that we will use. We have icon, we have string, we have label and all that. We have the helper text, the hint text, and all those things. But we are just going to use some few ones here, which is the border, right? We are going to use the border, which is the most important ones here, so that we can have it rounded like this. And then also we remove the underline. Yeah, so let's start with border, and then we'll call input border, right? We called outline input border, and then we will call the border radius circular. When we check our design, the border radius is 22. Okay, so we are going to use 22.0, and when we rerun, now we have this border for ourselves. So we have this border to use for our text field. Now the next thing we have to do is to put that little spacing between the text field and then the label, that small 8.0 spacing. Yeah, so when you come down here, we are going to have constant. We are going to have constant size box, right, with a height of 8.0. then we close this. Then when we run, now we have our text field looking like this. So now we can enter texts, as you can see. But doing this, the design says that, hey, we are not going to have a border, rather we are going to have it look like this without a border. So let me see. When we try to click inside of the field, this is what we have, right? So the first thing we have to do is to enter this here, which is this name in here, and that name is called a hint text. That name is called a hint text. So when we go in the text form field, we will set inside of the decoration, right? We will set a hint text. So we'll set a hint text, and then the hint text will be what we have here, enter username. So we'll say enter username. That becomes our hint text. So now when you type in, this is what we have as our hint text, right? Yeah. So the next thing we do is to make sure we remove the border color, right? We remove the border color, or we set the border to none, and then we'll set we'll now work on the shadow. So outline border, we can do outline border dot. We can do outline border, and then let's see if we have our border. Let me do outline input border. Outline input border, should it be none or should it be something else? Guys, should we set it to, shouldn't it be none? Let me see if we can use something here. Yeah. So now input border is none. Yeah, that is what we are doing. Now the next thing is to make sure we have that shadow, but the shadow don't come out of the box, right? I'm trying to check the values to see if we can actually pick the shadow from there. But we have text style, text align, we have all those things, but we don't have a function for the shadow. If we want to have that particular shadow around the edges, we don't have a function for it. So what we can do is to wrap it inside of a container, and then we use it. What we can do is to wrap it inside of a container, and then we can set the shadow for the container, and that way we can reuse it, right? So we'll wrap the text field in the container, and then the inside of the box decoration, we'll call on box shadow, and then we'll have this. We'll call on box shadow, and then we'll have this. So we'll call box shadow, and then we'll set the color to black 26 for now. Right, so when we run, we should have that as black 26, and when we do this, the spread radius and then the offsets and everything, we have it like this. Now it's looking like that because we have to set a text decoration field color, right? So we have to set the field to true, and then the field color should be white. So now we have this. So now we have this. Now we have this, and what we can do is that we will set the border radius of the container. So let's see if we can do that. So container, we can set border radius of the container. So border radius, and then let's use circular, and circular, what was given to it, I think 24.0. So now let's see what we have. So we have it looking like this, which is a very bad way, because it's not supposed to look like that. So if we should bring this particular border down, if we should bring this particular border back, and let's see how it will look like. So this is how it's going to be looking like. And if we set the border radius, yeah, when we set the border radius to circular and we make it 24.0, it's gonna be looking like this. And as it's looking like this, it's still looking very bad. So we can set the border side, right, border side, and then we will set the color to white, or maybe we can set the width to 0. So let's set the border width to 0 and see. Even that is not working. Why is this trying to stress me right now? Guy, I'm already stressed. I'm tired. I want to rest. So you can't come and stress me that much, bro. Else we would have to continue tomorrow, guys. If this wanna give me too much stress, we are just gonna continue tomorrow, because I'm already stressed out. All I want to do is to rest because my eyes. Yeah, so when we have this in clip rect, let's try use clip rect. If it doesn't work, we are just gonna rest and continue tomorrow. So now we have this. Let's increase the spread and see what we are gonna have. An increment on the spread, even all the way to 12. It's not pushing much. If we should do this 12, it's still not pushing much, because the clip rect is taking away the spread and then the shadow. Yeah, so guys, so far so good. This is what we have. I'm gonna duplicate this. All right, I'm gonna create a class to duplicate this, and then in episode 7 we will now bring the border radius and the other stuff. So for now, let me calm down here. And let's create a widget. So we are going to create a reusable widget right now, which is build input field. All right, and then inside of input field, we are going to return this column. Then inside column, we are going to have children, which will be this. Yeah, so when we are building input field, we will just specify the label. So we'll call required string label, and then required string hint. So we'll call hint, right? So we'll replace this with label, and then inside here we'll replace this with hint. We've already discussed how you can do all this, so it should be easy for you to pick it. Now when we come here, we are going to build input field, and then the first one is going to have a label of username, right? And then the hint is going to be enter username. So we should have something like this. Where is this? So let's change the cross axis alignment to start. So we are gonna have username and then enter username, and then after that we will check the space between these two. I think it's 24, right? Just as we have for the top one. So we are gonna have this like this. So we have the next line, which would be the email and phone, and then the next line is gonna be for password. Yeah, so this one says email or phone. That's the label, right? Email or phone number. That's what it says. And then type your email or phone number. That's what the hint says. So the hint says type your email or phone number. So that's what the hint says. And then the next one is saying password, and then type your password. So we have password, and then this says type your password. Yeah, so type your password. That's what the last one says. So we are going to rerun this, and then we should have these elements. So we have all these elements. The next thing for us is to add the buttons, which is the register button and then the sign in button. So let's add that too before we jump off and continue tomorrow. So let's just check the spacing between these two. This is 32, right? So we are gonna have a new spacing, which is a constant sized box with a height of 32.0. Yeah, I just realized that I'm rushing, so let me take my time. And then in that we are gonna have these two buttons, which is this and this. But when you check the design, we already built similar button, so we don't have to do much. We only have to go and then pick it and then reuse. You get? Yeah. So when you go inside our landing screen, and you check on the login card widget, we have a button that is doing the join now, right, which is this particular field button in a row expanded, right? So we have this field button, and we are just going to use it here. So we will copy it or cut it, and then we'll drop it in here as a field button. So when we rerun, we should have this as join now, as you can see. But in here it says register, so we are going to do register. You clean this particular function and call it to do, say register user. So that is what we are going to have here, register user, as you can see. So on the text, instead of join now, we are going to say register. So when we move the user in here, we should have a text like register. Yeah, so we have this particular text in here, which is register. So we run the app, and then we are gonna have register button. Now what's the way forward? We have to make sure that the button hits the edges of the screen, just as we did in episode 4. Was it episode 4 or episode 5? Yeah, just as we did in episode 4, we will wrap this particular button inside of a row. All right, a row, and then we'll wrap it inside of expanded. So that should make it fill the left and right spaces like this. So we have register, and then in between we already have account. We have this text which is saying already have an account, and then we use sign in. So we have the register button, and then below it we have a text that is asking Yeah, this is manual, not vibe coding. We are learning mobile application development, and I'm supposed to do it manual so that all the viewers or my learners will understand what I am doing. Yeah, so we have our size box.16, and then below that, really, are you sure? Maybe you are even more than this. What do you do? What's your stack? So guys, let's investigate this text. This is a regular text of a 14 with the color. Yeah, with what color have we been using so far? 50% of our black, right? So yeah, we are gonna use regular, and then the text is gonna be already have an account. Yeah, so we are gonna have this already have an account, which we have there. So we'll have this text like this in between our text, and then all we have to do is to give it a font size, which is 14.0, right, as a regular font size. And because it's moving to the right, we have to make sure we center it, right? So we have to do our cross-axis alignment to center. GTA trending text for the follow. If you are interested in seeing more of this, then you check out my YouTube channel. Over there I have a lot more sessions where I teach mobile application development, raw coding, simple understanding, no much AI. Yeah, I work with a tech company here in Ghana, and I also do my personal stuff as well. You have something you want us to discuss? Yeah, so guys, I work as a software engineer, and then I work as a trainer as well. So yeah, can I come and do my internship there? Yeah, if drop me a DM, and then I will see what I can do. So just drop a DM inside of the TikTok, and don't forget to check out the YouTube channel as well. Yeah, and join the official WhatsApp channel where you have access to a lot more of content like this. So guys, where were we have our register button, and the color of this button, right? So let's say the color is up colors.black, and I'm going to show you a new something or a new method that you can use to change the opacity of any item's color, right? So for any color, you can change the opacity using the name of the color dot with values, right? And then you specify alpha, and in the alpha you do 0.5. that is like 50% of the opacity, right? Instead of 0.5, you can also do 0.5, and that should be 50% of the opacity. So you have this looking like this. Yeah, guys, mind you, we are not done with the text field, right? This particular text field is being stubborn, so I'll leave it for episode 7. We are not done with it. I want us to finish with the rest so that we can relax tomorrow, then we continue. Yeah, so we have this register button, and we have this text. So the next one is to do this and have the final text. All right, so we're gonna have this like this, and when we rerun, we are gonna have it close to this. So what we will do is to add that spacing, which is the constant sized box spacing with a height of 16.0, like this. And then when you check the UI, instead of register, we have sign in. So in here, we are just going to replace register with sign in. Then we should be done. So we have sign in. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sign in. Who corrected that? Is it even this way? Let me just keep it this and see. Don't change anything to sign up. I want you to create a new thing for me. Yeah. Create a new getter as sign in. So we have this sign in. And then when we jump to our screen, we are gonna have a sign in. Yeah, so now on a click of the button, we should now have this. Yeah, so guys, so far so good. This is what we have. As you can see, what we are missing now is what we have on the text field, right? Looking at the things we have on the text field, how the text field is supposed to look, we have to add this icon to the password field. All this I would have to take you through tomorrow. It's gonna be like, I would have to talk about it extensively, the text field controllers and all that. So I think I'll just make it a short episode, which will be like the episode 7 or something like that, or we can say episode 6 continued. Yeah, we can use that as episode 6 continued. Yeah, so we are gonna have this, and looking at this, we are almost done with what we have. Yeah, with what we have, this is what we have, and this is what the UI provided, as you can see. Yeah, this was what the UI provided. And one thing we have to do is to remove this container height now before we forget. Yeah, then after that, what we can do is to add the padding that it has here, and then also here. I think after that, then we can just jump and say hallelujah, hallelujah to episode 6. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, and if you're watching on TikTok, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel for more episodes, and also join the official WhatsApp channel for updates and resources. Yeah, so guys, I think we are almost through with this. All we have to do is to add a little bit of padding to the container, which we already have, which is the vertical padding. Even if we do our 32, it's gonna look like this. And then for the buttons, I think it has an extra padding at the bottom compared to what we have at the top. So that means below all the last element, which is this button, we are supposed to have a little spacing. So I'll just copy the spacing and then I'll put it here, and I'll make it a 24 spacing. So now we should have something like this. Yeah, guys, one thing you should know about UI development is that at the end of the day, your design is supposed to look like what you have on the UI, but it is not drawn to scale. Not drawn to scale means that when you check this, the UI already almost shown that the design is just below the up bar. But when you come to the mobile screen, even after we made sure that we added more space to our elements, the design is still not so much to the end of the up bar, and this is where we have it. So what we can either do is that we either push this to be at the end or the top there, or we leave it as it is. Yeah, so let me see if we can force push it to be at the top and see whether it will work or not. Yeah, so we have this, and assuming we have our main axis alignment as space between, then let's see what we are gonna have. It's not even gonna move to the top, so we just forget about it. So tomorrow we are gonna look at all the necessary fixes that we have to do to this screen, especially the input fields, right? Especially the input field, we have to look at all the fixes that we can do to them to look like this. And also we add that particular scroll functionality that we are lacking right now. We add it to our design to make sure we have something that is almost similar to this. Yeah, guys, so far so good. We've done 2 hours of episode 6. All right, we've done 2 hours of episode 6, and I'm glad to have all of you pass through. I'm glad to have all of you pass through. Tomorrow we are gonna have a continuity episode of this episode 6, and then we should be able to build our UI to look exactly as we have on the design, like this. So tomorrow we are completing with this particular screen, and then we are moving on to designing the login screen as well. Right, we are moving on to designing the login screen as well. Our build or our episodes are getting more interesting, and this is where things start to look a little bit complicated for new people. Or for new people, you might kind of find it a little bit complicated, but if there is any confusion that you face, don't forget to put it in the comment section. Don't forget to put it in the WhatsApp channel, and then I'll get back to you after every live session. So guys, my YouTube people, this has been a great episode, a very confusing one and stressful one as well. And then hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to finish with everything on the episode 7 or the episode 6 continued. Yeah, so tomorrow we are gonna have episode 6 continued, and on episode 6 continued we should solve all this issue and be able to proceed to the next screens. So I'll see you guys on the next episode.